I see people click the ad, they're on the page for like 30 seconds, they're checking out, and they've bought the product within like a minute 30. Our testing budget every single day was $2,500. This is coming from someone that spends on average $1 million to $2 million a month on ads. Very similar pre-lander to the one that we were running for this brand specifically. 8 to 12 new creators used every single month. All right, boys, this is gonna be a crazy one. I'm gonna talk about how we did almost 3 million in the month of August across our client accounts and personal accounts. So if you know anything about ecom, August is generally a very, very slow month. But this August for us was actually pretty good. We're really ramping up for Q4 for some of these brands. And no, this is not all generated from one brand. This is actually made up of 5 different brands, mixture of client accounts and personal brands. But yeah, in this video, I'm gonna be breaking down the biggest of these brands that did almost 800K a month in the month of August. And I'm pretty much going to be breaking down everything, how they came up with their product, their offer, their funnel. And honestly, this video is probably going to annoy a lot of people that are doing big numbers in the industry, because a lot of these guys on YouTube that you watch, they're dropping like 10% of the sauce for you guys. And I don't have a course to sell. I don't have a Discord to sell. So honestly, pretty much just going to be revealing all in this video. No fancy edits. So yeah, let's just get right into it. All right, boys, so we're going to get into it. Deep dive, 800K a month. I'm going to get into, product, offer, acquisition, funnel, their creatives, their team structure, everything. Pretty much, honestly, revealing all in this video. So I think it's going to be super, super important. Starting off with the numbers, obviously you can see them on screen here. This is a screenshot from Triple Whale showing their net profit and everything. And, a lot of the time people say, if you're doing 800K a month, your margins are probably so slim, crying about margins. The margins here were actually great. Obviously, the margins could have been better if we weren't actively trying to scale to these numbers. We could be at probably 40% profit, but somewhere in the 20s is still amazing at this kind of scale. So let's get into it, starting with product. This brand, they started actually in March, and they were looking for a product. I've been kind of buddies with these guys for a while, 2 different guys that started this brand, and they've been looking for products. They've been testing products, and they've used the traditional methods like Pippi ads and that kind of thing. I pretty much told them that they just had to stop doing that altogether. I think Pippi ads and any other product research software for that matter is horrible. And the reason for that is obviously just because the amount of people that are seeing the same winning products every single day on those platforms. So even if you are one of the first to test and get up and running, everyone's doing the exact same thing. They're getting onto these winning products. They're going on TikTok, they're ripping the best creatives, and they're launching it on Facebook. It's just not going to work. Honestly, what you need to do is deep dive the ad library, Facebook ad library, TikTok ad library, and try and find products that way. I like to say, when everyone's zigging, you got to be zagging. I don't even know if that is actually really a saying, but honestly, if you're just doing what everyone else is going to be doing, you're going to get the results that everyone else is. And a lot of the people that are on, looking at Pippi ads and those kind of softwares, a lot of those guys are absolute killers in the industry. I've worked with some people that is their product research method. And, they have team structures where they come in and within a day, they have like pretty much an entire branded store, creative strategist, they have creators producing content all within like a day or 2. And honestly, if you're just starting out, you're not gonna be able to compete. So I'm gonna be breaking down some of their criteria when it comes to looking for products. Again, they found this product actually on Facebook ad library, but it obviously has to fit certain criteria. So the main one is that it solves a big problem. And I think this is a great way to find, any winning product is kind of reverse engineer looking at problems that people face in their daily life and then finding a product that you're able to put in front of them and position that product as a solution to that problem. And people will pay big money for something if you're able to solve their problem, especially if it's a problem that makes people a little bit self-conscious. Being overweight, balding, those are big problems that makes people very, very self-conscious. And if you position your product as a solution to those, again, you'll get rewarded very nicely for that. Next up is actually having a niche focus and a mass appeal. What I mean by this is you want to be solving a very specific problem that a lot of people face, whether it's men over 45, if they all face problem with balding, positioning your product as a solution to that, that's a great way to take advantage of that kind of market. So again, niche focus in the sense that it's solving a very specific problem for a large group of people. Next up is high perceived value. So obviously, if you're scaling to these kind of numbers, it's going to be very difficult for you to do so with a product that you're selling for like $20 or $30. You're going to need to try and find a product that has some sort of value to it where you're not able to just go on Amazon and get the exact same thing for $10. Again, that's going to be something that's very difficult to compete with and jump into a market like that. You need to find something that isn't super readily accessible everywhere else, and people value that product as, a solution to their problem. You need to be able to create bundle offers with that product where you're able to get your AOV to, at least $40 on the low end. I think like $40 to $80 is really what you want to try and aim for. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to sell one of those products for that. That just means you have to create an offer where you're able to sell it for, somewhere in that price range. And finally, obviously, you need to have a product that's got good margins. In this case, the margins on it was like 4x. And I think 4x is honestly on the low end. I think 4 to 5x markup is again where you want to be looking at. So to summarize, when you're looking for a product, obviously make sure that it's solving a specific problem. Try and have it solve a problem for a large group of people, because obviously you're not going to be able to scale to these kind of numbers if you're solving a very small problem. And make sure it has some high perceived value and that you're able to actually make some money off of it. So now I'm going to get into the offer. This brand specifically had 3 different tiers of their offer. And I'm going to break down, a few things that we did that allowed us to get their AOV up to $59. And there's very specific techniques that we did here that, again, haven't heard anyone talk about online. So we had 3 different tiers. The first one was $39.99 plus $4.95 shipping. Second was $59.99 free shipping. Third one was $79.99 free shipping plus free gift. And that free gift is generally just like an upsell product. So something that kind of goes hand in hand with what you're already selling. Throw that as a free gift, because we actually had a lot of success with this bundle offer after implementing that free gift. We didn't really have many bites previously when we were just doing an upsell offer with free shipping. It really helped when we threw in that free gift. So one of the sneaky techniques that we actually did here is obviously in our offer for the first tier, we said that we charged $4.95 shipping, and we had the second tier auto selected as most popular. This automatically made people more likely to go through with this specific offer. The sneaky thing that we did is, say they did just go through with this first tier, they went through the checkout. Obviously, Shopify doesn't show the shipping cost until someone actually goes through, they've given your information. We didn't actually charge shipping on this, and our thought process behind it was, once they get that far in and they've already put their information in and stuff, if they see that it's free shipping after all that, they're going to be like, oh, this must be a mistake. Like, I'm going to go forward and I thought I was going to pay $5 shipping and it shows up free shipping. I'm going to go ahead and just order this right away. I don't want to refresh the page. I don't want to do anything. They probably think it's a mistake. And that was where we got a lot of people impulse purchasing. I was able to go and see this. When you're in Triple Whale, you can see people's customer journey. I see people click the ad, they're on the page for like 30 seconds, they're checking out, and they've bought the product within like a minute 30. And that's probably because they saw that, oh, it's actually free shipping. Like, this must be some sort of mistake. Anyways, moving in obviously to the acquisition funnel now. You might be surprised to hear that all we did here was Facebook only. And I know so many people, screaming from the top of the hills right now about TikTok Shop, TikTok ads. In my experience, this is coming from someone that spends on average $1 million to $2 million a month on ads across various platforms. Facebook is always the best platform. And that's for almost every brand that I've worked with. Facebook always comes out on top. It's the most consistent. It's where you're able to spend the most money. Overall, it's just the best platform in our opinion. And that's what we did for this brand. All we did was Facebook and Instagram. You might also be surprised to hear that we only did US targeting as well. We experimented with a little bit of worldwide targeting, didn't work great. And obviously at this scale, we were able to do this all on US only. So we didn't find the need to necessarily go worldwide, at least just yet. At this scale right now, we're pretty happy with the results. So US only, cost per acquisition came out to be $28. And I'm going to break down the entire testing strategy here. So I don't know if this is what other people do in the industry right now. This is what's worked for us. This is what's worked for our clients, everyone we work one-on-one with. This is generally the same testing strategy that we do. So we use one CBO, one ad set, and all the new ads we would put into this one ad set as flex ads or dynamic ads. And then we dupe that out 5 times. So especially when you're starting out and Facebook doesn't have much data on your customers, I find duping it out to be super, super important, because we see all the time some campaigns just completely flop. They're obviously testing different pockets of traffic where whatever pocket they're testing might just not be that good. And then the exact same campaign duped out and just performing so much better, and we're actually able to scale those campaigns. So it all comes down to, getting into different pockets of traffic. So we generally dupe this out 5 times at $250 a day. So that was about our testing budget every single day was $2,500. And I'll get into the creatives, but obviously we were testing like at least 5 to 10 new creatives every single day with this strategy. Winning ads then obviously get moved into bigger scaling campaigns. We had a big CBO with just all of our winners, which was hitting like the majority of our spend. I'd say like 60% of our spend was going into just one campaign. 25 was in like the testing every day. And then, another 15 kind of just spread out between a few others. What we would do is after running these new ads for a day or two, you're pretty easily able to identify, which one of these creatives is better than others. And that's when we would move, maybe 1 or 2 every day into a winning campaign. And that's where we would scale the budgets. But obviously, if a campaign was also hitting in the testing for a certain day, we would also bump that up. So all this to say, like 75% of our spend went towards previous winners, 25 towards new creative testing every day. And I think that's super, super important. And I think this is something that a lot of people get wrong, is they just test and test and test every single day. They're testing new campaigns, new creatives all the time, but it's all for nothing because they're not really scaling anything, that's a previous winner that's showing them good results. And that also leads to very much up and down results. So with this kind of, structure where you're spending 25% of your budget on new creative testing, it's obviously helping you to continue growth and continue, sustaining those high levels because you're finding new winners on a daily basis. But it's also not very volatile because, 70% of your spend is going into previous winners that you're already very confident with. They've already spent thousands of dollars a day and you know that they're going to work. So just make sure you're not spending too much with your creative testing every single day. Make sure that you're actually putting money into winners as well. Next up was their funnel, and we put a lot of effort into their funnel. One of the things that we did, which I don't hear anyone talk about, is having a pre-lander. So we weren't just sending people directly to the product page, trying to get them to, get this middle tier or upper tier. Like that's going to be very difficult if you haven't really nurtured that lead, that person that's, clicked on your creative. If you're trying to get them to whip out their credit card and spend $80 right then and there without really learning more about the product or your brand or anything like that, that's going to be very, very difficult. We implemented a pre-lander, which honestly, I think had a lot to do with how we were able to get people to choose this second tier and have our AOV around $59. Because without it, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people would have just picked this first tier and not thought twice about it. And you're probably thinking, what does a pre-lander even look like, or what does it say? So I'm going to break down this example from Kazik. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's the shoe brand here. And this is a very similar pre-lander to the one that we were running for this brand specifically. So this isn't very difficult to make. Honestly, you're able to make something like this super easily on Funnelish. There's a lot of other platforms as well that you could create pages with. Funnelish is just the one that I've used in my experience. But, it's super simple to create a page like this, and pretty much you could kind of generate this entire page also from ChatGPT these days. You could honestly copy and paste this entire page and just say, now create a 5 reasons why for X product that is targeting X target audience, whatever. And it'll probably spit you out something that's very similar to this. So pretty much the whole idea of this pre-lander is to try and educate the viewer on, the real selling point of your product. So making it super, super easy to see, ultra comfortable, washable, breathable. These are some of their big selling points for their brand. And ultimately, the biggest thing is trying to just create a ton of social proof, showcasing reviews, GIFs, people using the product, so that people go ahead and shop now so that they actually see your offer. And this is a great pre-lander. I'll leave the link in the video below where you're able to check this out and obviously go through and create something very similar. But what you'll see here is all of these are GIFs. Again, creating a ton of social proof and just making it super easy to understand what their selling points are. You don't have to read a ton. You could kind of just skim read this and you get an idea for their product. And what you'll see is they obviously are pushing the shop now button a ton, because you don't want people to get lost on this pre-lander. You want to give them a chance to shop every few scrolls. You want to be able to have a shop now button, and that's what they've done here. So that's what we did for this brand. We did a pre-lander, and then obviously once they clicked through on the shop now, that's when they went ahead and hit our actual Shopify lander that had the offer and everything. From there, again, we tried to really upsell our second and third tier packages the most. So once they actually went ahead and made the purchase, that's when they would then be met with our post-purchase upsell. And this was it varied depending on the package and what someone bought. So if they selected the base bundle, they would have obviously checked out for $40, and then we would upsell them to the next tier for an extra $10. So this still allowed us to, have some margin on upselling them, but at the same time, it allowed us to get our AOV to like $50, $60, even just for this first tier. And then if they selected the middle tier, we allowed them to upgrade for an extra $15. Again, cheaper than what they would have chose here, but also more substantial enough to where it helped increase our AOV and our profit margins after the purchase completely. So it didn't really add any friction to the funnel. We did test a pre-purchase upsell, and that absolutely tanked our conversion rates. So honestly, if you're looking at doing upsells, I would always recommend post-purchase upsells. There's really no downside to implementing something like that. They've already purchased, they've already given you their credit card information. It's super easy to get them to act on just a little extra. There's plenty of great apps. Zipify one-click upsell is the one that we used, and that's what allowed us to obviously increase that AOV. Now, probably the most important part was the creative structure, the whole creative flow and everything. So what we were doing for this brand was 8 to 12 new creators used every single month. Each creator started with 2 briefs, and then from that, better performing creators, whether it be they just shot higher quality content or they showcased great transformation, or if they were just really good on camera, that's when we would probably work with them again and keep feeding them new briefs and angles on a weekly, monthly basis. And each angle and brief had, about 2 minutes of talking points. So we gave them a pretty outlined structure of what we wanted the video to be like, but we also didn't give them a script. In our experience, it's, when you start scripting videos, that's when creators start to sound really unnatural. But when you give them some freedom and you just give them a structure, whether that be hook, problem, solution, something as simple as that, that's when we've found they're very authentic and overall just create a better video. We obviously made sure that we got some B-roll clips from them, outlined exactly what we wanted, and also just gave them specific hooks and call to actions to shoot. And this is really the process that allowed us to pump out, 5 to 10 creatives at a minimum on a daily basis. So if you're curious of the overall team structure and, what it takes to be able to pump out this amount of creative production every single day, this is pretty much an overview of the structure. There was obviously a founder. He was also doing all of his media buying himself. I think he just enjoyed it, to be honest. He didn't really want to outsource it. He had a customer service rep, and he had like an administrative VA that was doing things like creating reports and that kind of thing, just to help him overall understand his numbers, make sure that he's on top of everything, like bookkeeping and all that sort of stuff. And then there's the other side, which is obviously the whole creative structure. And this is what we handled completely for this client. So we pretty much came in, we set him up with our creative director and 2 video editors. And these are the exact same team members that work with my own personal brands and other brands. And these are super experienced team members that, I've been working with for a while. They're very familiar with our entire process. They're very familiar with what works in e-com. They don't need much guidance. It's super easy for us to just come into a new account and pretty much just set them up with our team and then just start pumping out creatives. So that's really what we help them do. And that is the single most important thing, honestly, when you're trying to scale to these numbers, because you're not going to hit numbers like this if you're not testing a shit ton of creatives every single day. So that's exactly what we did. So if you're watching this right now and you're kind of struggling with your brand, you might be sitting at, 20, 30, 40, 50K a month in revenue, but you're really looking to scale to 100K plus, 250, 500K. Where you're lacking is honestly your creative structures and really being able to produce winning creatives on a daily and weekly basis. So if you're struggling with that, I'll leave my calendar link below and you can book in a call. We don't work with everyone, to be honest. We're getting pretty busy with Q4 and lining up all of our projects there. But if you're really interested and you're ready to invest in your business, business, then by all means, book a call down below and we'll chat. But honestly, with kind of everything that I've mentioned today, this should honestly give you a good idea of what next steps to take, no matter what kind of revenue range you're at. But obviously, if you do want someone to come in and do everything for you in terms of creative production, then by all means, let me know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully this provided a ton of value. I know that no one's really talked about these kind of things. I haven't heard of anyone talking about, creating pre-landers and really breaking down, being this transparent with their testing strategy and everything. So if you enjoyed the video, give it a like and let me know if there's anything that you want me to break down a little bit more in depth, because obviously I kind of flew through each step of this. I could break down obviously better ways to find a product, creative process, creating funnels, all that sort of thing. Just let me know. But again, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one.